brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. And we'll all float on the king, and we'll all float.
Hey everyone, I'm Sofia Lidskog. It's Monday, January 10th, and joining us today is the star from the movie Phantom of the Opera, actress and singer Emmy Rossum. Welcome, Emmy.
Thanks for having me.
We're so glad you're here. We'll find out more about you a little later on in the show, but first, why don't you get started with today's top stories?
In Mississippi, a former Ku Klux Klan leader has been charged in the 1964 murders of 3 civil rights workers. Edgar Ray Killen was in court Friday denying that he was guilty of what has become known as the Mississippi burning killings. Michael Schwerner, James Chaney, and Andrew Goodman were murdered in 1964 in rural Mississippi. They were trying to help African Americans register to vote. 19 people were arrested and 7 were convicted of civil rights violations, but no one was actually convicted of the murders. A member of Congress is giving credit to these 3 teenagers in Illinois for the latest developments.
Law enforcement of Neshoba County was deeply
Last year, they put together a 10-minute-long documentary about the case and helped draft a congressional resolution calling for the case to be reopened.
It seems that we don't fit into this puzzle, but it's an issue that affects everybody. It's not specific to Mississippi.
The teenagers actually spoke to Killen, the man accused of the murders, over the phone. Meanwhile, prosecutors say Killen's trial could start by the summer.
Winter storms have hit with a vengeance across the country. In Indiana, this truck driver got caught trying to drive through the high waters. In other parts of the state, it was snow and ice that wreaked havoc, pulling down electricity lines and forcing many residents into shelters. In Ohio, people are recovering after days of rain caused flooding along the Ohio River. And across California, some of the worst weather in years. In the Sierra Mountains, between 4 and 8 feet of snow is expected in some areas. In Reno, Nevada, people were digging out from one snowstorm when another one hit. Even the normally dry Mojave Desert received a few inches of white snowy flakes.
It has been a violent few days in Iraq. American officials are trying to figure out what went wrong when a fighter plane dropped a 500-pound bomb on the wrong house near the northern city of Mosul. The military says 5 people were killed, while the owner of the house says 14 civilians died. Last Thursday, a roadside explosive device like this one destroyed a U.S. Bradley fighting vehicle, killing the 7 Americans inside. U.S. authorities expect that violence will increase as Iraq gets closer to its national elections January 30th.
And it's being hailed as a new opportunity for peace in the Middle East. Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip went to the polls Sunday to vote in presidential elections, the first time in almost a decade.
The votes are in, and it appears that this man, Mahmoud Abbas, is the new leader of the Palestinian people. Abbas declared victory Sunday after exit polls showed him with between 66 and 70% of the vote. Abbas is the former Palestinian prime minister and a close ally to the late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat, who died last November. Arafat's death opened the way for Sunday's election, the first time Palestinians had voted in presidential elections in 9 years. Many Palestinians who have lived through more than 4 years of fighting with Israel had high hopes for Abbas.
I hope you bring peace. This is what we ask, for peace.
I hope we started practicing democracy in our country.
During the campaign, Abbas walked a fine line between his longtime condemnation of the armed uprising against Israel and his need for the support of Palestinian militant groups to have any power as president. But many Israelis are skeptical Abbas can end the fighting.
He has not even discussed or thought about peace.
Abbas has promised to push for long-standing Palestinian goals, including the creation of a Palestinian nation that includes the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and a part of the city of Jerusalem. President Bush called Abbas's election a key step toward building a democratic future.
And coming up next, a look back at what happened when a tsunami hit the U.S., and a look ahead at the chances of history repeating itself.